Hey there. What is it to have a split personality? How do some people have conversations with someone else? With how does someone, a single consciousness, able to produce another consciousness within? How? Well, because of my experience in gang stalking. That happened to me. I had my mind divided in several streams of consciousness. And in this video, I will tell you about how was it that I understood how gang stalkers actually had their own voice in my head. It's kind of amazing. But if it's happening to you, it's incredibly hard to understand. So if you're getting gang stalked and you're hearing voices, that is gang stalkers splitting your personality. And that in itself is something that is incredibly hard to get out of. The truth. Well, first of all, hello? My name is Anonymous, and in this channel, we talk about manipulation and, about the mind and about my experience with gang stalking. So, there was a point where gang stalkers had their own voice in my head. And, this voice was the voice of a chick. And I remember where I was in the trance where everything that you would see, you would perceive it as a negative. In on my next video, I'm going to talk to you about the permanence of the negative perception. And having this perception makes everything against you. And this negative perception is something that gang stalkers put in your mind very slowly. So let's start with the hand signals. So starting from the hand signals, a hand signal is a hand wave. It typically means that it's something good, like someone is saying hi. However, once you have a bunch of people bombarding you and interrupting every single thing that you're about to do with hand signals, what that does is that it pretty much attaches a negative emotion to that. And then when you're going out, for example, and then you look out the window and there's a car with the headlights on and they go like this, and that happens to you for like a year, what that does is that it makes you it recontextualizes the meaning of a hand wave. Now it's not something that someone does to say hi or just someone moving. But now this has been done in an abusive manner to make you feel persecuted for so long that your perception of it changes. This also happens with the headlights. The headlights, it the moment that they start bugging you with the headlights, and so you feel persecuted, and then it's gonna stop at one point. However, you had been conditioned, and made to feel uncomfortable with headlights for so long that you really are not gonna have any idea when it actually stopped. Now, how is this relevant to the voices? Well, let me tell you. Your personality is split whenever you start imagining what a gang stalker would say. For example, when I've used this example several times because it's the easiest to conceptualize. But when people are like talking, right? And then there's times where like gang stalkers are just like sitting down and they're talking about you, like right where you're at. Like, let's say that you're I don't know, that you're filing your feet. So then you're gonna hear like, or what the fuck is he doing? That's gross. You're gonna hear these things. And they're gonna critique everything that you're doing for a very long time. So then this happens so long that it builds an expectation. So there's gonna be times where, like, if you feel that someone is watching you, your mind is going, you're gonna start imagining what this person is saying, if they're watching you. And that is what gang stalking does. Is that it makes you start imagining what they would be saying if they would be watching you. So, let's say, for example, it's something that is very slow. But man, when it happens, it's crazy. Like, it starts when you're having a thought. Like, it starts with a thought of what would a gang stalker be saying about me. So, but then these thoughts, all of a sudden, they become almost automatic. When you don't need to imagine, your mind kind of just does it on its own. And with time, these thoughts get a voice, and the voice develops in your mind. And the thoughts and the voice kind of just fuse together. But and the thing is that the voice attaches to the thoughts that you feel that are the gang stalkers. For example, when you are sitting down again and you're filing your feet, you're gonna be having memories. So the voices are kind of like memories. Like, you're gonna remember the time that you were filing your feet and then you had people there being So when you replay that, you're actually only gonna hear, you're gonna remember it, but you're also gonna hear the voice that someone said. So what happens is that your mind starts picking up things that gang stalkers would say, even when these things had nothing to do with you. But your mind is actually only going to select things that make sense to the gang stalking narrative. For example, if I'm singing a song and a long time ago someone said, "Shut up," and then I'm going to assume that that it was because of a gang stalker. So then what my mind is going to do is that it's going to believe that that voice was like, that shut up was told to me by a gang stalker. So next time that I'm singing, I'm going to remember the time that I was singing and that a gang stalker told me to shut up. But even though there's no gang stalker, the voice is going to still activate because of the memory. So then it is not a gang stalker anymore that is telling me to shut up. But it is me imagining what would a gang stalker tell me if I was singing. Or when I'm singing. And then, when this happened, I remember that it happened when I was singing, and then I remember the time that someone said shut up when I was singing. But the voice only activated when I remembered that someone told me to shut up when I was singing. So it's not really. It's mainly like the memory of the voice. So like, it is your memories that actually give voice to that give that character to the voice, because your mind is gonna put all the memories, all the voices that everything that everyone has told you, plus the things that you have imagined that they would say, and it's gonna stitch them together. And it's gonna use all those memories as the actual voice of the gang stalking consciousness. It becomes later a conglomeration of things that you have heard people say that you thought that was said to you by gang stalkers. And there's gonna be a mixture of things that were said to you, and some that you believe that were said to you. So you're gonna stay confused because no one is gonna ever confirm to you if it was if it was said to you or not. But so the fact that you're attributing your own memories of voices to gang stalkers is making you antagonize your own thoughts in your own memory. I remember that there were instances where someone would be having a conversation by me, and I would be, I guess, in the trance. And when you're in the trance, your mind is very malleable. And to be honest with you, I feel that I am in the trance most of the time. And the trance makes you get lost in thought. And during these instances, I was having a conversation with someone, and that person was by me. And I would be listening to the conversation, but I would kind of be stuck listening to the conversation. Like I was just doing whatever it is that I was doing. But I would just be stuck. Like I would be unable to think of anything else. And and then let's say that I was over eavesdropping on this conversation. But then all of a sudden, without me noticing this conversation, the voices, they stayed the same. But they were talking about me. So if I would stretch, the voice would say, "Oh, look, he's stretching. Oh, look, he's doing that. Oh, look, he's doing that." If I would feel like shit, the voice would say, "Oh, he looks like shit," or he's feeling like shit. And then when you realize, there would be a point where I would be like, why are these people talking about me, and how do they know how I'm feeling? So then I would look, and there would be no one there. So There is this point in gang stalking when you're like hypnotized. Like the voices of people would hypnotize you. And then the conversations, like you would know that there was someone there because you just saw them. But then the person, they would like stay quiet and they would leave. But I wasn't looking over there. I was trying to focus on what I was doing, but my mind was still focused on the conversation. It was so weird. Like I was trying to focus on stretching, but my mind would be focused on the conversation. And my mind would be so focused on the conversation that even when the people left and the conversation ended, my mind was imagining the rest of the conversation. And when I was focused on stretching and I was focused on my own thoughts, my mind confused my own thoughts with the thoughts of the with what the other people were saying. So I would say, "Oh, I'm feeling tired," and then the voice would say, "Oh, he feels tired." That is that is like when your personality gets split. It makes it easy for you to have those types of moments. So the thing is that these, you never know when these are going to happen because you never really know when you're connected, when you're in this trance. And it's not really being in a trance, but it's like, I guess, being connected more to your mind. I'm not even sure, to be honest. Like at this point I am confused because I feel like I forgot how to use my mind. Like I know how to do a lot of new things that I didn't know before, but it feels strange. Like, you guys tell me, is it normal to just like be having like flashbacks when you're talking? I don't think that's normal. Like I think that whenever I'm like having a conversation, I'm supposed to be like here in the present. But when you are give me a second. Sorry. There we go. When you are getting gang stalked, well, when you get gang stalked, your mind, it's normal to be talking and think of something, and then all of a sudden your mind will come up with like an image that is related to what you're talking about. Now, I mean, I guess I'm still having the consequences of gang stalking, because because I changed the images that will come up. That's how I'm telling you that there's a way to like change trauma, because like I have literally replaced the memories or the traumatic experiences, or the memories of the traumatic experiences with images of me having a lot of money, being really hot, and having a freaking American Express black card, and being in a swimsuit, like when I had like when I was at this party in Palm Springs. And like that, those are the images that I'm replacing them. But I don't think it was ever normal to like just be talking and all of a sudden you're just having a you're talking, and then like your mind just brings images of those instances, because I don't think that was ever normal. But it happens, like right now that I'm like talking, and like I just have all these images. It just kind of just flashes in front of my eyes, and it's like I'm fighting it for it not to happen. I mean, it's cool because it's an image that I enjoy, and I stopped revisiting these bad memories that used to feel unpleasant. It's not unpleasant anymore. Like I'm enjoying my time that I'm spending with my mind. However, it's the strangest thing. I feel like I forgot how to use how my mind used to work. But now that I think about it, that was never the case. Like I would be in the present at all times. And that's not the case anymore. Like I'm still here, but I get bombarded with flashbacks, thankfully. they are of images that I enjoy seeing. But for the longest, it wasn't. Now, so going back to the main crux of this video is that the voices that you're hearing are actually the workings of what you are imagining the other people will say. As long as you're imagining that the people who are having a conversation are your enemies, the conversation that these your mind is going to only pick up on the things that fit in the gang stalking narrative, that your mind could possibly interrelate to you having a negative to you having a feeling that the conversation was about you. So as long as you see everyone as a gang stalker or as an enemy, you are going to continue having these experiences. Now, how do you fight it? How do you stop imagining what other people are saying? This was the hardest thing to me. So I'm gonna tell you, the very last time that I learned to control it was when I was doing the banging. So, in addition to being a sound that would condition me, it was a sound that would bring my consciousness to the present, because I would feel the vibration, my ears would be like, oh, what's that? And my eyes would focus again. I would not be thinking. I would not be lost in thought. I would be in the present. So I realized that when I would be in the present, I would feel like almost like a force coming from the sides of my eyes that would try to pull me back. And this pulling back of my consciousness would be indirectly proportional to the, or would be directly inverse. Give me 1 second. Would be directly inversely related to the voices. So the more in the present I was, the more my eyes were focused, the least I would have voices. So it was like, so then what would happen, it would be that I would be like here, and then my eyes would try to like lose focus, and whenever they would lose focus, I would begin hearing the voices. So it was a fight for my consciousness to my mind. Like they were fighting to against each other, where my consciousness was here and my mind wasn't, and my mind was trying to pull me back to hear the voices. It's the craziest. So then I realized that the more I did this, the more I would like stay here. So then I that's when I made, it was more of like a balancing game, where like I had to focus my mind and not allow it to like lose focus. The thing is that muscle, I'm sure it's a muscle that we as human beings all have, like we all have built and we have strengthened, because we are used to having our consciousness in the present. But when you're getting gang stalked, you kind of focus a lot on your mind. So you're staying here power. Your power of staying in the present, it's like a muscle that it gets weaker the more you are lost in thought. So I had to literally force my consciousness to work this muscle to keep me in the present. Like today I have been relaxed and I have been lost in thought a lot, but I have been using this to how do you say, to give me 1 second, to recondition myself to have money again, to recondition myself to only have positive thoughts. I've been reworking my mind to be working with me for like a little bit more than a month now, and it's day and night. Like, let me tell you that when you're sleeping, your mind if you're listening to something while you're sleeping, like to the news or whatever, your mind is actually listening. Like your mind is listening and it's absorbing all of this stuff that you're feeding it. So it literally began making a difference where I would just go to sleep and just listen to a lot of like positive materials. And I would wake up and I would start imagining different things. Now also, of course, it is significantly more powerful when you're awake. And when you're awake and you're listening to material, it is significantly more powerful. So I would literally just be listening to positive and podcasts, and literally the content of my mind would begin to change. So I would keep my focus on things that I wanted to stay focused on. And that is when I began noticing that, like, my ears also made me, I guess, go into a trance. Like, I would pay so much attention to what I was listening to, and I would, when you're lost in thought, your consciousness, your subconsciousness is a lot more vulnerable. So you're more significantly more manipulable. So someone can tell you when you're lost in thought, someone can actually suggest something to you, and you would actually, when you would snap out of it, which I think that's why the banging would happen. You would be more suggestible. So that's why one time I was lost in thought, and I said three something, and at the moment that I said three, someone said four, and 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 I kept working, and then I began, whenever I would see a three, I would think of a four, and I would never notice that. But because I would count the change twice, I would notice that I was giving $4 instead of three, and then I would fix it. So, anyways, you shouldn't get lost in thought. I'm sorry. So, same thing. I'm trying to stay here in the present, and literally, my mind is like trying to like pull me back. It's so weird. I'm not sure exactly how to explain this to you, but it is something quite uncanny. Now, in order for you to keep the voices away, you have to focus on strengthening those muscles of staying here in the present. That's it. So what I do is that, like, on my steering wheel there's like the BMW thing. So I look at the B and I make sure that that how the B stays sharp. Same here. If I'm looking at the emoji on my phone, I make sure that it stays sharp, that I do not lose focus, because when I lose focus, I know that is when my mind wants to pull me back. So, which is why reading is, if you're getting gang stalked, reading is a really good way of keeping yourself here in the present. And that is by making sure that you are reading and not getting lost in thought, because your mind will want to get lost in thought. And guess what? It's gonna want to think about gang stalking. So you have to fight it. This whole thing with the voices, was insane, because it creeps up on you. It doesn't just happen one day, but it starts with, like, you thinking about what the gang stalkers would be saying about you, and then you actually hear what they're saying about you, and then after that you start imagining what they're saying about you, and then all of a sudden there is a voice that represents what you think the gang stalkers were saying. And guess what? And the thing is that this voice is actually what you are imagining. I went on Reddit and then I saw someone whose voice was Jessica, and this person said that Jessica was like a supercomputer AI, and it's like, I can see why you would believe that it's a supercomputer, because it is amazing at watching what you're doing and responding to you. But that is because you are imagining it. And it's the thing is that once you understand the fact that you are imagining this voice, only then you can stop it. If you don't know what the thoughts that you know like there were thoughts that I was like, these thoughts are not mine. That's the beginning of gang stalking. If you feel that gang stalkers are putting thoughts in your head, it is not that. It is your own imagination. And believe me, I thought that they were implanting thoughts into my head. I really did think so. One time I was at a stop sign, and a voice told me, literally told me don't follow the stop sign, just keep going. You know, and I was like, that was not my thought, because it was talking like if it was someone else. But that keeps evolving. They start making you antagonize your thoughts. They put your mind against you, and it's really hard to understand how the fuck they do it, because God, it is freaking not subversive. It is insidious. It's really hard to catch. But the one thing that I can tell you is that no one is putting thoughts into your head. I guess gang stalkers are indirectly putting thoughts into your head, but the thoughts are yours. It is your imagination doing all the work. You just are attributing it to the gang stalkers. Listen, I have been free of gang stalking. Finally, after 7 years, and it took me isolating my consciousness from my mind. That's what it took. It literally took me isolating my consciousness from my mind. That's the only way that I had to create a lot of distance between my consciousness and my mind. That way I was able to decipher everything that was actually going on. Gang stalking, listen, if you're getting I'm not saying that you weren't getting followed. You were getting followed, you were getting harassed, that's true. But there was a point in time where your perception switches, and you start imagining most of the things. And it's real. It's real. You're gonna have the craziest adventures. But listen, all the 7 years that I was getting gang stalked, I only began moving forward when it took me 2 years after so it took me the time that this channel has been on, because as soon as I found out that the sensations on my feet were actually produced by my own mind, then was when I was able to dig my way out. So it took me like less than a year. It took me like 10 months. It took me like 10 months to escape gang stalking, once I knew that it was my mind. So gang stalking is not that crazy. But the moment that it is crazy if you don't know what's going on. But the moment you understand that it is all your own mind, in no time you're gonna be out of it. Listen, I'm free from gang stalking. And there's times where I see things still. There's times where I do not differentiate. I cannot differentiate between between, what happened and something that I imagined. But the thing is that it's happening less and less. I guess I might have some unprocessed trauma, but I don't care enough about it, because like there's nothing else to process. That's the thing, is that gang stalking is, people believe that you have to understand everything. But gang stalking is made so that you don't understand everything. So it's actually made so that you understand absolutely nothing. And that's the thing, is that you're never gonna get closure from gang stalking. You're never gonna know why. You're never gonna know who, where, whatever. The only thing that you can do is learn how to manage your mind. Take it as you learn exploring your mind, because until you understand how your mind works, you're not gonna be able to escape. You're not gonna be able to escape gang stalking. Anyways, well, that's all for this video. I want to tell you guys that I have learned so much about the mind, and well, that I actually have plans to develop an app that teaches people how to use your mind. Oh, I have so many plans. Just watch me. I'm just really happy that that I'm out of that nightmare, because it truly was a nightmare. Anyways, please like, please subscribe. If this information has been useful to you, just know that I'm just happy that I have been able to help you in one way or another, directly, indirectly, I don't know. But I hope that this channel has had a positive impact on your life. Well, thank you. I love you guys.